Night from Collin Sexton, though. We really need to appreciate that guy more. Let's talk about it. It's the Hoops Nerd Show. All right, guys, before we get started, make sure you go to our sponsor, PricePicks.com. Use promo code HoopsNerd. Like we always say, they will match up to $100. You put down $5, they will match $5. That's free money for you to use. Go to PricePicks.com, use promo code HoopsNerd, and it'll help the channel, and I would really appreciate it. All right, let's talk about the Utah Jazz tonight. I want to disappear like the Utah Jazz disappeared right there. No, just kidding. I tell you what, guys, there's 13 games left in the season, and the Jazz are kind of simming to the end with some of these games. Lauri Markkanen does not play in this one, and so it's going to be a little rough, but we're going to have to try and find some things to enjoy, so that's what we're here to do. We're sifting through the mud, and we're looking for those gems and diamonds and gold and everything. We're mining for gold here in these end of days of the season. So the Utah Jazz get beat by a very good Oklahoma City team. And honestly, I felt like the Jazz played pretty darn well in this up until midway through the fourth quarter, and they just got the doors blown off of them. And we probably should not be that surprised with a lot of this because this Jazz team is extremely young and has a lot of guys getting used to the wear and tear of the NBA. Taylor Hendricks is getting starter minutes now since trade deadline, and it's going to take some time for him to acclimate, although I don't think he's looking quite as tired as Keon George. Keon George had one of his worst shooting nights of the season, if not the worst shooting night of the year. 0 for 7 from 3, 3 for 14. The ball was just not falling for him. He looks gassed, like just really tired. And so a lot of these players, it's really tough. Let's just go through it, though. Obviously, congrats to the Oklahoma City Thunder. They did a great job of building this team. From here on out, get ready for the next 5 years to be very much to have the Oklahoma City Thunder be one of the top teams in the Western Conference, if not the league. And they're just going to get better because they have all these picks that they can use now for trades. They may make a trade with Utah at some point. We will see. But let's just start off and let's just go through the players tonight. This may not be quite as long as our normal ones just because we have a game tomorrow, and this was a rough one in a lot of ways. But Bryce Sexton, 2 for 9, 0 for 3 from 3. That's part of the reason they lost. And this is the big thing with Sexton. I mean, I like the 2-point shot from him. That mid-range looks really nice, and when he gets that off clean, it's great. But he really is struggling to hold on to the ball. If he has the ball in traffic, it's very likely it's getting taken, stolen. And you see that with the 4 turnovers. And these show up big time because these are isolation plays. What's interesting with him is he has the makings of a really nice isolation player, but for him to get to that next level, you want to see this go down. You want to see his handle just get better. It's just truly one of the most important things in the NBA. Teach your kids young. That handle is so valuable because if you can get to where you want on the floor, just look at SGA. If you can get where you want on the floor, that is the most valuable skill on a court besides shooting, right? And so if you can get to that place on the floor where you can knock that shot down, that's incredibly valuable. And in the NBA where guys are super long, like this Oklahoma City Thunder team, every single position, they are long and skilled and athletic, and they will take the ball from you, And so that's the next level for him. What I really like, and I know the numbers aren't good, 0 for 3 from 3, still not hitting threes the last 4 games. It's kind of a crazy stretch for him. But I do like, at least the eye test is telling me some good things about Sexton. That mid-range shot looks nice. He can get his own bucket. And when this 3-point shot starts falling, it's going to be really nice. Now, it may never start falling, We'll see. But he's been playing just very recently, so you got to give him time to just develop and figure it out. It was kind of like with Ochai Agbaji, 2 full years of giving him time and taking lots of shots, and it never just quite got there. Even though actually the catch and shoot looks, or the spot up threes look better than you think. from the advanced analytics, they're actually pretty decent for Ochai, but Bryce Sensabaugh has a little more potential as a shooter. Not the defensive potential that that Ochai had, although, Ochai had nights where he was great defensively, and I even did a TikTok whatever about his defense. But there were nights where it was just like he would disappear. So anyways, I don't know why we're talking about Ochai, but Bryce Sensabaugh, you just need to give him time to develop. And hopefully he's a little different than Ochai, where he can actually start taking steps and impacting games in a big way, where Ochai just didn't really. If Ochai was impacting games in a big way, the Jazz would not have traded him. But that was not the case. Here, my sound is not that. For whatever reason, sometimes I'm going to just up the gain here a little bit. Sometimes the sound just makes me quiet. So I'm going to just fix this really fast. Sorry, we're live. I'm just going to fix this fast. When you do your own show, you do your own production, okay? All right, that should help out a little bit. Okay, so Bryce Sensabaugh, we talked about him. Taylor Hendricks, the defense from him is impressive. Oh, I'm like, what is that sound? My wife's watching something with some alarm going off. Anyways, Taylor Hendricks, this show's going about as well as the game for the Jazz did. I'm sorry. Taylor Hendricks goes 3 for 6 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3. To be honest, probably one of the biggest bright spots for the Jazz tonight. I know he got dunked on by Chet. I actually feel like Taylor Hendricks is the next great hope for us to have a guy on our team that actually dunks on other people. I would like to see John Collins do that, who just got massacred by Ant Edwards last game. But you know what? He could do it to someone else too, and I would like to see it. But Taylor Hendricks has the length, athleticism, and size to do it to the other teams, and I want to see it. Like, rise and cram it, guys. Come on, Jazz. Can someone on the Jazz cram it on someone else? We're on the bad end of a poster every night. It's hurting my feelings. Imagine how the players feel. So anyways, I want to see a little bit of that, but you can't complain with at least the raw numbers from Hendricks. 3 for 6 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3. He was perfect from the free throw line, 4 rebounds, an assist, and 3 blocked shots. I mean, if you're just looking at the stat line there, that's pretty great. If he's doing stuff like this every night, 12 points, 4 rebounds, the Jazz really have something. And I think, honestly, every Jazz fan, after what they've seen the last 10 games, would say, yeah, I think Taylor Hendricks is 100% a rotation player for the future for Utah. And then there's some skill set things where, can he get a little bit of a handle? Can he kind of work on some things like a post game and the quickness of his release and things like that? All of a sudden, he becomes quite the player because defensively, he's awesome. I mentioned John Collins a little bit. I was impressed that Collins just came out and played hard tonight. Seems in good spirits. It sucks to be dunked on and be on every Twitter feed on the planet for a day. But you know what? He came back and he played hard, and you got to be impressed by that. 2 for 3 from 3 is nice. 6 rebounds, 16 points. I mean, he didn't have the most impact on Chet Holmgren, but Chet Holmgren's awesome. So, it's why you try to get good picks in the draft, because then you can add those players to your core, and that's what happens. And that's why, the Jazz have Taylor Hendricks. They have Keon George. We'll see with Bryce Sensabaugh over time if he can develop. Maybe he can, maybe not. But, the Jazz are going to go into this draft and get a number 9 pick, most likely. And then next year, we'll see. This offseason might be crazy. The announcers made some interesting comments where they said it was going to be an interesting offseason for the Jazz, which makes me go, oh, when the announcers are saying it, maybe that means something interesting is coming. So who knows? Keon George looks exhausted. He honestly looks exhausted. I would not be surprised if one of these days we see him get a day of rest or something like that, because he doesn't have any legs. Like, we know he's an incredible scorer and has the potential to be insanely good. When you go 3 for 14 from the field and 0 for 7 from 3, that means you don't have your legs. Like, his legs must feel like lead. And so with 13 games left, counting tomorrow, he needs to just, this offseason, what's important for these players is to take 2 or 3 weeks or a month or whatever they need to get to decompress, be with their families, go take vacations, do whatever you need for a month to just kind of relax and get that season out of your system, and then hit the gym hard. and get in elite shape. It's like, back in the day, you'd see the videos of like when I grew up, you used to watch the videos of Jerry Rice and Karl Malone. And I think there's even one where they're working out together, running up sand hills and pulling tires with ropes and things. I mean, this offseason is just time for Keon George to get in elite shape. Take that break, take that time to get rested, get right, let your wounds heal, whatever ailments they're all dealing with, but then go get in just incredible elite shape, because that's the thing that takes you to another level too. Because it's one thing to be able to score and have sections of the season where you score really well, but it's this time of year, and you can see it with SGA, who's obviously in elite physical shape, where they're just out there and they can just score every night. I mean, the fact that SGA does this type of thing every game is impressive, because he's the main guy and he's out there just doing it. So that's what Keontae needs to do, but he's a rookie. That's what rookies need to learn. You just need to learn the fitness aspect of everything and how in elite physical shape you need to be. It's not just fit. It's not just like, average fitness. It's NBA fitness level, which is Iron Man stuff. It really is. It's actually an underrated aspect. We don't really honestly talk about that enough. The level of physical fitness you have to be in the NBA is just incredible. And it's just the highest level of, any of the major sports. NFL players play once a week. Baseball players are sitting in the dugout half the game. NBA players are grinding and running and jumping and dunking and competing. I mean, they're going to do this 2 nights in a row on the road. It's brutal. The NBA is brutal. So anyways, they mentioned that in the broadcast, and I thought it was an important point. Keontae will get there. He's just got to do that. It's really up to him. Keontae is one of those guys that sky's the limit, So when you're shooting like this, your legs are gone, and he's just got to figure that out. Chris Dunn, you know what? I'm really happy Chris Dunn is a part of this team. I hope they sign him to like a 3-year, $20 million contract or something. Maybe not that much, but something that keeps him on the Jazz long-term, because he's such a good influence, such a good guy. That his leadership is helpful. And so I just really hope that he's a part of this Jazz team for a long time. I really appreciate Chris Dunn. And I mentioned it at the start of the show. We just need to appreciate Collin Sexton. Because no matter what, Collin Sexton is going to go out there and give everything he's got. And he is an underrated shooter. He is an underrated scorer. His size dictates that it's probably best for him to be a sixth man. It just is, because he's 6 foot tall, 6'1", whatever it is. But man, he plays big for his size. Just impressive what he does with his scoring off the bench. Tonight he scores 63% from the field against a good Oklahoma City team. He was, let's see, I'm looking at the wrong one. 25 points, just a -6 when the Jazz got the doors blown off at the end. He was awesome. 7 assists, 5 rebounds, just great. Impressive stuff from Collin Sexton. And I just appreciate the guy. KG10 to TH5, $2. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that a ton. I'm bullish on Sexton. You know what? Why can't he be the sixth man of the future for the Jazz? This offseason is going to be really interesting. I have no clue what they're going to do. I personally really hope that, I think if anything you learn from these games, how much talent you need in the NBA. Yeah, you have a really promising young point guard in Keon George. You have a promising young forward in Taylor Hendricks. At this point, it's really up to them. We talked a lot about Donovan Mitchell last show and some of the things that I was frustrated about stuff with him. But one thing you can't argue is that Donovan Mitchell got better every single offseason. He was adding things to his game, and he was in elite physical shape. And so that's what Keontae and Taylor and Bryce need to do, is just get in that elite physical shape, but also go and add those elements to the game that you need. One of those things for Keontae is just improving that handle, so that you're not getting so that teams can't just trap you like that and get the ball, And even if it's not even improving your handle, just learning how to recognize the trap, where to get the ball within the offense, things like that. Those are things that just come with experience and time. And he'll figure that out. And the NBA is a whole different animal. And it's funny, traps are nothing new to Keon George. He's been dealing with traps his whole life, I'm sure. For at least the last 7-8 years of his basketball life, he's been dealing with traps. We do it with my kids' AAU team, you trap. That's what you do. That's what good teams do to get turnovers and score and stop good players and things like that. And so Keontae's dealt with that before. He knows how. But the NBA is a whole other animal. And there's different, more advanced schemes and things like that. And then just straight up better athletes, better players, that he's just got to take things to another level, just to improve that handle so that it is on a string, improve your vision, all the things. It just comes with experience and practice. And then also just the shot making in the offseason, just work on those shots so that when you go into the season, you can knock those down and find out what those shots are, Anyways, back to Collin Sexton. Sexton is awesome. I appreciate the mentality every single night. He gives 100%. There is never a time where you don't expect Collin Sexton to give everything he's got, because he does every single night. And that's just something I think we should all be grateful for Collin Sexton. Just be grateful, because guess what? There's 13 games left. The Jazz are trying to lose games right now. And so there's nights where it's like tonight, where you just see this team kind of looking a little lax, a little tired. Halfway through the fourth quarter, a lot of players are just like, they understand what's going on. And so to have Collin Sexton come out and play like he does is impressive and appreciated. And by the way, they are tanking. There is no question. I've tried to find some reasons why Talen Horton-Tucker is on the floor. It's because they know they're going to lose some games. Now, it made me frustrated last season because THT literally won the Jazz a couple games last season that would have jumped them past 9, and I was hoping. And you know what? I think things worked out. Taylor Hendricks looks nice, so I think we're fine. But right now, what he's doing is actually helping them lose games, because I think there's a legitimate argument that Jason Preston is a better player and helps you win more games, But right now, that's not what the Jazz are interested in. Walker Kessler had an interesting night. I think he had an up and down night. I felt like he played better. I think he's looking a lot more like we expected the last 3 games. And then near the end, and maybe that's him running out of gas as well, he got a little lax, So I'm impressed with Walker Kessler and how he's improving. 8 rebounds, 4 points. How many block shots? Just 1. Solid night from Walker Kessler. I'm not going to rag on him too much because I feel like he's on the upward trend again, which is nice to see. Finally, Micah Potter. I've been impressed with this guy. He does literally everything the Jazz ask. There is zero attitude from him. Seems like a good teammate too, and so it's nice to have someone like that on the team, willing to do whatever the Jazz ask. Johnny Juzang might be a piece, guys. I tell you what, I know he was a +4 in this game, which the Jazz lost, or +3. Look at that, Taylor Horton-Tucker +4. But he is a legit shooter. I know he started off the season just rough. But now 3 for 6 again tonight. And the shot looks pure. Like when it goes off, it looks good. He's now shooting 38% from 3 for the season. Really nice. Really impressive. He's a guy I think the Jazz keep, and I hope they sign long term. Remember, I think he was a undrafted rookie last year. And he has also, like Micah Potter, done everything the Jazz have asked. He has been absolute great attitude, and now he's out there playing hard and showing what he can do. And what he can absolutely do is shoot the ball. And guys like this are important because guess what? Shooting is incredibly valuable in the NBA. Just ask Isaiah Joe. I believe he was a G League guy that has come to this Thunder team and has become a big part of it. Now, I say that and he went 0 for 3 tonight. But look at this. For the season, Isaiah Joe is shooting 40%. He is a dead-eye shooter and a big part of what Oklahoma City does. And you know what? Why can't Johnny Juzang do that? On top of that, he brings good effort on defense. I mean, there were a few times where he stood up his defender. I mean, he had a nice one against Jalen Williams, a nice defensive stop. So there's a lot to like here. He has nice size. So who knows? But I think things like this are definitely things to keep an eye on because shooting matters. and Johnny Juzang can shoot the ball. It's nice to see. So give him a little more comfort, and you might have yourself a success story like a Fontecchio or a George Niang or someone like that who earned their way into like regular off the bench minutes. Honestly, why couldn't Johnny Juzang be kind of that role that George Niang had, where it's kind of a big forward that can spread the floor and shoot the ball? Juzang can do it. So pretty impressive stuff. Taylor Horton-Tucker is the tank commander this season. 3 for 10 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3. There's just some things that are just not great. Yes, he has great deflections. He does bring size on the defensive end. But man, offensively, it can be rough. And playing Taylor Horton-Tucker allows the Jazz to get a better pick. By the way, speaking of picks, I talked with Leaf Tulane. I put the video up. I hope everyone had a chance to watch it. If you haven't, it was an upload yesterday. Go check it out. Really nice to talk to Leaf, and I got to try to get more guests. I think let me know in the comments if that's something you like, but I would love to just do more podcast stuff, talking to different Jazz people and bringing them on the show. Utah tonight has lost 3 in a row. Brooklyn is pathetic. Can I just say that? Brooklyn is the most pathetic team in the NBA right now. Memphis, we know what they're doing. They are trying to just get another pick that they can pair with Ja Morant, or they might actually trade it once Ja Morant's back. Toronto, I know what you're doing. This pick is top 6 protected. But then, yeah, all these teams, they know what they're doing. Brooklyn's pathetic. They don't have any incentive to tank at all. They do not get this pick. It goes to Houston. So for them to just continue to not be able to win games, I thought Mikal Bridges was good, honestly. Same goes for Atlanta. They have their own pick this year, so they're probably trying to tank a little bit as well. But, I thought Quinn Snyder, everyone at least, my favorite thing actually, I don't know if you guys are Bill Simmons, Ryan Russillo listeners, but my favorite thing has been their slow realization how overrated he is as a coach. Not great. And they can't seem to figure out how to win multiple games. I know they lost Trae Young, but I don't know. That's a pathetic team. Houston's won 6, and this coincides with Şengün. This is interesting, actually. This is just... Let's see. When did Şengün get injured? March 18th. Okay, March 10th. So that is when he got injured. Sorry, this is just me kind of being curious. I want to look at the Rockets. Well, they've won 6 games, so they started winning games once Şengün went down. Don't know if that's the biggest endorsement for Alperen Şengün, who I'm not a big fan of. Everyone and their dog says he's the greatest thing since Jokic, and I watch it and I'm like, well, yeah, he can score inside. That's nice, but he can't defend anything. And Houston's all of a sudden won 6 in a row since he went down. Interesting stuff. I feel validated. Anyways, that's pretty much it for the show tonight, guys. These are going to be interesting days as the Jazz continue to lose games. But you know what? We're going to keep going. We're going to keep talking, looking at the different players and what they're doing. And then we're going to start looking at the draft, because that's definitely where the Jazz are going and what we need to look at as Jazz fans. So let's go to the Tankathon here. Jazz sit at 9. Let's see. But before... Let's start the music. What am I doing? By the way, you know what else is great? X-Men 97 came out. First episode's awesome. I'm excited to watch the second one. Watching it with my kids is a lot of fun. All right. If the lottery was held today, what would happen to the Jazz? They stay at 9. Man, it was like 3 days in a row the Jazz won the lottery. The streak ends tonight. Utah stays at 9 with that 20% chance to jump into the top 4 and a 4.5% chance at the number 1 overall pick. You know what? Utah jumping the top 4 would be nice. All right, let's give a shout out to our All-Stars. Let's give a shout out to Ryan Perry, the legend, the Tim Protector Roebuck, Nathan Butnett Burkhart, Dirty Jazz Car Wash Channel, Fly Eagles, Fly Platinum Eagles, The Real Deal Lars Jarvin, and Just Buckets JB, Baby Elliott Matson, Christian House Money DeHaas, The Outlaw, Jesse James Nelson, Asika Recibe, the man from down under. See ya, Lex the Later, Built for Tough, Alexander Tufts, Jorge Arrizaga, mi amigo de abajo, Jordan the Goat, Best Roll, TGD, Total Game Domination, Tyson Price, The Price is Right, Austin R. Grant, Editor Extraordinaire, KG10 to TH5, DW to CB, Darren Williams to Carlos Boozer, Patrick Kukubo, the Connoisseur, and Robert, Hall of Fame. Guys, if you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel. I will talk to you next time.